Hello, everyone. I'm Margaret Keogh, and I'm with Mid-America Arts Alliance. Thanks for letting me join you here today for Arkansans for the Arts. It's certainly a great chance for us to talk about the arts in our region and join you in advocating for the arts in Arkansas. I have a few slides to share with you today about the impact of COVID nationally, regionally, and in your state, and then some other updates from Mid-America Arts Alliance. So let me start up my slide deck. First, I'd just like to give a level set. Who is Mid-America Arts Alliance? We are one of 6 regional arts organizations in the United States. We have several Arkansans on our board, and we sit between the National Endowment for the Arts and the Arkansas Arts Council. However, we can advocate, whereas both of those organizations cannot advocate for the arts within the federal level and within their state. So we're happy to help out with those efforts. Our vision statement is more art for more people. So that's something we strive to do each and every day. And you can find details about Mid-America and all our programs at MAAA.org. And I'll share that again later, so you'll see that there. Just my overall update again, talking about COVID, the impact of COVID-19 on the arts nationally, regionally, and within your state. And then also I have some grant updates from Mid-America and just some other programming news I'd like you to know. Here's a picture of me with Senator Bozeman at Museums Advocacy Day. Actually, this year, right before COVID started, I was able to get into his office to talk about how great museums are in his state, and certainly he's well aware. So good job, Arkansas. Now, across the U.S., according to our friends at Americans for the Arts, artists and creatives have been the most severely affected or among the most severely affected workers in the U.S. 63% have become fully unemployed. Nationally, you see the economic losses for arts and cultural organizations at nearly $14 billion to date. 96% of organizations, pretty much everyone, has had to cancel events in a loss of 467 million admissions. So that's tickets to movies, admissions to museums, and tickets to the opera. Those have all been lost. And you see a lot of affected spending. So, it's dinner and a theater, or parking when you go to the museum. Those costs have also stretched into other sectors. So it's been quite a big economic loss within the sector, and then also loss in government revenue. $4.8 billion in lost government revenue. So that's taxes collected on tickets for-profit arts entities or those related industries that have not come in. The arts and cultural sector in a normal year represents nearly 4.8% or 4.8%, nearly 5% of the gross domestic product. So we are a sector that's larger than agriculture, larger than tourism, and larger than transportation. So we're an industry that also trades at an economic surplus internationally. So, you can't always discount the arts and industry sector as not having enough weight within the nation, because it certainly does. At nearly 5% of the gross domestic product, we do our jobs. The arts keep people employed and pay the bills. According to the Brookings Institute, the estimated loss is 2.7 million jobs. Nearly a third of creative industry jobs have been lost, with a loss of $74 billion in average monthly earnings. The hardest hit is those within the fine and performing arts, so opera, theater, music, dance. Economic loss is estimated at 50% of job loss within that part of the sector. They are seeing some opportunities, however, and I wanted to mention those, with organizations that are turning to small performances within their communities. So outdoor concerts with lots of social distancing involved have turned out to be good ways to stay connected with your community. And, that's just something to keep in mind. The South, which in this study, Arkansas was part of the South, is expected to take the hardest hit in job losses among the U.S. regions. Now, across Mid-America's region, again, that's Nebraska to Texas, and this is according to Americans for the Arts and some studies that Mid-America did earlier this year. Nearly $200 million has been lost by organizations in our region, with 61% rating losses as severe or extremely severe. 96 have had to cancel events, resulting in nearly $15 million lost attendees. 60% are confident that their organization will survive COVID, but 1 in 3 see staff reductions as temporary or permanent. And I will say 9% do not see their organization surviving COVID. 1 in 5 artists have lost their entire income. That's 20%. However, 25% have received some sort of aid in a form of a grant. So that is some slight good news within for individual artists, but overall, this has really taken an economic hit within our region. Now, looking across Arkansas, and these are details from a study we did earlier this year in both March and May. 71% of artists were reporting lost wages, with 65% reporting lost shows or canceled gigs. And I'm assuming, since this was last done in May, that those numbers are much, much higher. Only 4%, or actually 3.8% of Arkansas artists reported no impact. So that's really saying 96% are feeling the pinch. 1 in 7 have lost all their income, with 40% losing more than half. So those are big numbers. And as the pandemic endures, artists are feeling less confident that they'll meet their bills, which it should be no surprise there. However, when we did our study, people were starting to feel better about 2021. So there's hope on the horizon. It's just right now in 2020, artists in Arkansas are really feeling the pinch. Now, according to Americans for the Arts, all Arkansas arts organizations that reported into their study have had to cancel events. And 23% are seeing layoffs within their organizations, some temporary and some permanent. And half, 48%, see the pandemic as severe or extremely severe, and 3% don't see themselves surviving the pandemic. However, within our region, 9% felt they would survive the pandemic. So Arkansas, your numbers are actually, while dire, less dire than within the region. So 76% are confident their arts organizations will survive, but they're having to dip within financial reserves, reduce payroll, so those are those layoffs or furloughs, and after the pandemic, we'll see how much those reserves are going to be built up and how many jobs come back. And 65% of the organizations worry about reduced giving, and half about limited savings and cash reserves. So the Brookings Institute and their study called Lost Art, remember again, Arkansas was reported being in the South. The South was going to be the hardest hit, but Arkansas was going to be less impacted based on sales and jobs. So Nationally, out of 50 states, Arkansas was 34th for losses within creative occupations. I think that's because you'll see bigger hits within Florida and within Georgia in the South, and Virginia, I believe. April to July, they're saying losses within Arkansas in lost wages is $334 million. So those are lost dollars being paid to people, but lost taxes coming into your state as well. And 29%, 29.5%, so nearly 30% of creative occupations in the state have been lost. So I'm very sorry about that. Sad news. But let me shift to some good news, or what we think is good news. The $2.3 trillion CARES Act funding was able to help organizations across the country, including those within the arts. So small businesses, small creative businesses, nonprofit organizations, and gig workers. A lot of artists are, those gig workers were impacted by COVID-19, but nearly 5 million PPP loans worth $500 billion were awarded. 173,000 of them were made to arts and creative economy businesses worth $13.7 billion, and it helped preserve 1.1 million jobs. That's huge. And nonprofit organizations alone almost got 10,000 loans valued at $1.8 billion, which preserved 76,000 jobs across the country. So those are big numbers, and certainly we all should make a point to thank Congress for including the arts and the nonprofit sector in the CARES Act funding. The CARES Act funding did also include $75 million awarded to the National Endowment for the Arts that they then shared out with organizations across the country. They awarded $441,500 to the Arkansas Arts Council, the CARES Act funding did, that then got shared with organizations across the state. And Mid-America Arts Alliance itself was given nearly $600,000 to share with organizations across its region. I should also share that through generous funding from the Mellon Foundation, with some additional support from Arkansas's Wingate Foundation, we were able to secure funding that we were able to give out within our region. So the Mellon Foundation awarded $10 million in seed money to the 6 regional arts organizations. Of that, Mid-America was able to give out a little bit more than $1.5 million within our region, including some dollars we awarded to the Arts and Science Center of Southeast Arkansas in Pine Bluff and Delta Arts in West Memphis. We picked those 2 organizations out of those that applied for money they had to apply. There was a panel, so it was adjudicated. But we were looking to fund some places that are important to Arkansas's arts ecosystem, but may have been overlooked for some traditional sources for funding. Now, other general things to just keep in mind that's coming up on the horizon for Mid-America Arts Alliance, and certainly we encourage as many Arkansas artists and arts organizations to take part or apply. Now, through November 13th, we are accepting letters of intent for next year's Artistic Innovations Grants. These are artistic projects that will take place July 21 to June 2022. So we're looking out with you. And we have grants that award up to $25,000 in the creation, leading in some way to the creation of new works of art. So certainly get more details off our website, and we encourage you to apply. Last year, we were able to award $25,000 to Arkansas's Public Television channel and to some individual artist Simone Cottrell for projects that they are going to complete within this fiscal year. Also know regional touring program dollars are available to arts organizations. So we supply up to $5,000 to cover artist fees, up to 50%, for artists that aren't from Arkansas, but from the other 5 states within your region. So from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska, we're happy to help bring in talent to your part of the world. So again, more details are on our website at MAAA.org. And then Artist 360, which is a program special to Northwest Arkansas. It's something we have produced with funding from the Walton Family Foundation, where we combine professional development training for artists with grant dollars. So working artists will receive grant dollars of $7,500 along with that professional development training for a year. And student artists can receive up to $1,500 along with professional development training. And those applications for artists within a sector of or certain counties of Northwest Arkansas are due October 16th. And then Artist Inc. and Arts Connect are coming again and again to the state of Arkansas. So Artist Inc. is our professional development training program for artists, taught by artists. It creates a great cohort of creatives coming together to learn how to thrive and be better business people as artists. And then Art Connect is our deep dive professional development program for small to mid-sized arts organizations. So we encourage you to learn more, stay in touch, join our email list at MAAA.org, or email me at Margaret at MAAA.org. And we're happy to share more details with you about thriving in the state of Arkansas and thriving within the arts economy. And again, thank you for including me in today's presentations, and stay healthy and take care.